You like some cornflakes?
What's up everyone, this is Tranquil Toys with another review, this time taking a look at the Jada toy Sagat from Street Fighter 2. There's already a lot of reviews of this figure, so I'm not really going to go too in depth with this, but mostly I want to focus on customization options with this figure and some different things you can do, other figure parts and accessories and clothes and stuff like that, so you'll see that later towards the end. But anyways, I'll get right into the figure. First thing is the accessories, so you do get 2 sets of hands, 2 fists, and 2 open hands. It's really cool that they sculpted the hand wrapping on it and also on the forearm as well. You also get 2 head sculpts. This one he has a frown and he's kind of scowling. Then the regular head sculpt, he's also frowning, but he's a little bit more closer to neutral than angry really. And then he has his energy effect, sort of like a Hadouken. I don't really like the way that they sculpted this or the way that they made this. The sculpting is cool and the detail. I just don't like how you can see those 4 rings in there. It makes it look like a Burger King toy or something. I'm not sure if that's part of the original effect. You know, I don't think you really see the attack coming straight on like that. So I'm not sure where they got that from. But anyways, it's a cool effect. Decent stand, you know, you can pose it with the figure and stuff like that. Now getting to the figure. Sculpt of the figure is pretty good. The figure has a good frame, a good silhouette. Some of the muscles do look kind of soft. I know some reviewers have mentioned that. The shading could have been a little bit darker. I'm not really a big fan of shading because when you take pictures with a light source, that creates natural shading anyways. So as long as the sculpt is good enough, the shading will come naturally with lighting. So it's not really a big deal for me. Some people do care about the shading. There's none on the shorts. At least I can't really tell, but there is light shading throughout the muscles, and no shading on the wraps though. You got his big scar here, but it's sculpted, which is cool. Head sculpt is a little plain, but it's that same style that the rest of the figures have been in. His shorts look like they're kind of like satin. I guess they were trying to replicate like the Muay Thai kind of shorts. Now in terms of articulation, the articulation is really good. Probably the best you're going to get for this price for a figure that's relatively easy to find. We do have the Storm Arena figures coming out. There have been a couple of reviews of them. I'm still waiting on mine. So you got, you know, the neck articulation is really good. Not really that great at looking up, but decent looking down. The butterfly joints allow you to cross the arms. And we got the 2 dumbbell joints in the torso. A company like McFarlane, they can't even get this right. And a quick comparison with Marvel Legends. Here's their Daredevil figure, which has sort of that updated torso articulation, where they have a ball jointed peg going up and they have a hinge at the lower waist. Really that hinge is doing most of that work right there. But with the Marvel Legends, you're sacrificing the overall appearance of the torso. And the sculpting on Marvel Legends figures is just not as good. You know, Jada Toys is better. They can retain the sculpt of the body and the musculature while still getting that range without having to use that hinge in the lower torso. But one negative I will say is the back of the sculpt here. So his back kind of juts out. Marvel Legends kind of has that, and it has this really big gapping going on there. But this is kind of unsightly. Not really sure what you can do about that. Maybe they could have rounded the sculpt there. Toe hinge, not the most useful, and at least it's not like really loose. On the Marvel Legends it's pretty loose and it's basically unusable because the sculpt of the toe is not very flush. So that's it for articulation.
You like some cornflakes?
Here he is next to Dalsim, and these two, I think they were a team in the Street Fighter versus Tekken game. I think Sagat's height kind of changes depending on the game he's in. Sometimes they exaggerate it, but this figure, they made him really tall, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. It makes him a lot more versatile with other figures other than 6-inch figures, so I actually don't mind that. And he could even fit with Marvel Legends figures. Honestly, I think he could be like a henchman for the Kingpin or something, working for Cobra or something. In my mind, there's a lot of versatility with this figure. Maybe he can be an X-Men or something. I could even see the Punisher, you know, trying to take Sagat down. Maybe he sells drugs from Thailand and Punisher's got to stop him. Maybe he takes like some kind of virus that makes him stronger. Then Leon's got to stop him. Here he is next to Storm Collectibles K. Here he's next to the Bandai Namco Tekken King figure. Again, a little out of proportion, but I actually don't mind it that much. Here he is next to Andre the Giant. So this is also pretty cool. He could also fit as a wrestler, honestly. So that's pretty cool. He could also be a Kaneko Man character. So there he is next to SH Figure Arts Kaneko Man. He could definitely step in the ring with Kaneko Man. Or he might even show up in Eternia to take on He-Man. So this is another cool combination here, is Sagat in the Masters of the Universe. In Eternia taking on He-Man. He's working for Skeletor. He's got This is a custom Skeletor, by the way. Mesco head, just put this hood on him. So that's really cool. That makes me like the figure more. Pairs well with a lot of other figure lines. The tip for comparisons, there's a couple things I want to show you how you can swap some parts over from other figure lines. And then we'll see what some different clothes looks like on him. And here's a few head swaps that look decent. Here's the Sagat head on the WWE Mattel Ultimate Edition Brock Lesnar. And then here's the Brock Lesnar head on the Sagat body. Doesn't really work as well. And that's the problem you're going to run into with most head swaps onto the Sagat body. It just doesn't fit. Here it is with the Jada Toys can, and neither of these head swaps work. This can over here looks kind of creepy. Here it is on the Bandai Tekken King figure. So this fits kind of well. And so does this one over here. It doesn't really peg into the ball joint. If you wanted it to stay on there, you could just put some tack. And I think both of these work pretty well. And here it is on a Masterverse He-Man body. So this actually does peg into the ball joint of the neck. So this is pretty cool. And this is actually the Motu Cartoon Collection head sculpt. So basically any cape or cloak is going to look pretty cool on this guy. And especially this one with the hood. So that's pretty cool. And his head is bald, so you can put a lot of different hats and helmets on there. So here's this is Roadblock's helmet from the G.I. Joe Classified line. So if you want to do like a custom with that, here's a Masterverse Man-at-Arms helmet. Here's a WWE Mattel John Cena hat. You can actually swap the hands out with Masterverse hands. So here's the He-Man Masterverse hand. It actually fits in there, like it actually plugs in and stays in there. You can also put Masterverse armor on him. You can actually hold a sword and have some armor, put a helmet on him, and he can fit into the Masterverse display better, or just for a custom or whatever the heck you want to do with this figure. And the last thing I'll show you guys, here he is with the red jacket from GPS lot. It fits, you'll be able to zip it up and everything, but kind of hard finding a jacket that fits. This is that kind of like stretchy material, so that's why it fits a lot better. But his shoulders are very broad, so it's hard to find clothes that actually fit. And shirts are also hard to put on. You'd have to heat up his shoulders and pop his arms out to be able to fit shirts, unless it's like a really stretchy shirt. And also pants is going to be a problem because he's got these shorts. That's everything I wanted to show you guys with this figure. It's a good figure. Highly recommend it. It's worth the price. A lot of fun with this figure. A lot of different things you can do with it. That's all I got to say. I'll see you in the next one.
Cornflakes. You like some
Tiger! 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 You win! Round 2, fight!